Betsy from Cuttin Corners Vinyl in Nederland, Texas, and today we have a fun tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how I made this hot mess canvas. Now, this is a very cute and inexpensive project you can make. You can use your scrap, permanent, or removable adhesive vinyl to make your stencil. You can also take and use any canvas that you have. You can also use wood boards. Pretty much anything that you have laying down that will take acrylic paint you can use to make this. And just acrylic paint, that's all you need. Now if you'll give me a moment to change the camera angle, I'll go over everything we just did. So today we're going to work on our hot mess canvas. So the first thing we need to do is I have my canvas laid out. It's just a stretched canvas that is 12 inches by 16 inches. Now I do have a few colors laid out. I have the brilliant yellow green. I wanted to stick with springtime colors. And then I just have a piece of cardboard over here to be able to dip my paintbrush into. And I'm just using basic sponge brushes. But you want to let this portion dry. So I've got the yellow green. This is light magenta. We have flesh. Not sure why this is called flesh. Nobody wants to look like a Ritz cracker, but you know. I was trying to stick with more of springy kind of colors. But yeah, doesn't that remind you of a Ritz cracker once you see it out? So the fun of a hot mess canvas is got 4 paintbrushes to just go to town. You can make it look like whatever you want, because one of the things we're going to do once we're through painting on all the colorful bits is we're going to make a stencil, and then the colorful bits are going to be what our letters are. So you get to kind of play around with it and see what works best for you. But anyways, you can make a pattern if you want to. You don't have to. It's more about the fun of it. Don't want to drop that. But you just keep going like this with your colors until your canvas is covered. So we've got some magenta and green down. Let's go for some flesh. And as you can see with mine, I kind of like to go to town and really kind of mix the colors in, because that's kind of what makes everything interesting. So you're still getting all the colors. You're just getting a lot more mixture. So again, it's all in what you want to do. So one of the things is I'm going to put down all of my colors. And see, I like whenever the colors start to blend together and make new colors, but I am going to take and go back over the top with just some of the colors themselves. Now, I'm not worried about doing the edge of the canvas, because when we paint our last color to mask the stencil, we will leave those edges will be painted the same as the main color on the canvas. Okay, so you can kind of see what it's looking like. Now what we're going to do to kind of blend not really blend everything together, but to give a little bit more color, just take our regular brush, now that everything's kind of on there, and just grab some of those colors, which will re-brighten up your background. And you want to give yourself time for this to dry. So we're going to let this sit before we do the stencil portion. Betsy? Just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing again with the blush. And I typically buy my acrylic paints when they are on sale at Hobby Lobby. And Michael's and things like that. So it's up to you on what you like. But see how good that looks? You could almost make an abstract painting out of it, but again, those are thoughts are up to you. Oop. Lump of dried paint. Let's set that to the side. But you see now why it's kind of called a hot mess. When you look at it like this, it looks messy, which again is fine because it's not going to stay looking messy. It's going to have a lot of dimension and a lot of color to it. So I think I'm happy with the background as is. So we'll let this dry, and once this is dry, we'll come back and I'll show you how to apply the vinyl to make the stencil and to add the last layer of paint. So this is what our hot mess canvas looks like dried with just the colors on it. I really like how it looks, but we're gonna move it out of the way so we can get the rest of our vinyl ready to go. Now remember, this file is available for my $10 or more a month patrons, but I did do a video over how to design this and put it up on our YouTube channel on Tuesday. So if you look through my Corel Draw tutorials, it's in there. Okie dokie. So now I just need to weed off the excess vinyl, which I don't recommend sticking your vinyl to itself, but you know, it is what it is. We can still work with it. We just got to go slower. Oh, hold on. Messing up my... There we go. Okay. So even though I ripped right here, we'll still be able to use this because this is just a stencil. So it doesn't have to be perfect. But, you know, sometimes I get in a hurry just like anybody else and I mess things up. So, but I also like to show you that, you know, it doesn't always have to be perfect. So now I need to remove all my centers, because what we're going to do, and you can do this either way. You can either leave the lettering and just remove the, if you remove the outside, then the letters will be white. and the rest of your canvas will have the hot mess look. Or if you do it like I'm doing it, it will leave it where your letters are the colorful portion of the hot mess and the rest of the background is white. Okay, so now that that's weeded, now we need to go ahead and mask. So I've got my transfer tape right here. Let's move that where you can see it. And that's just a scrap piece of silver that I've had laying around forever. But you can find this, and it's just Oracal 651 that I'm using as a stencil. You can use whatever you like. I prefer using Oracal 651. So now I'm just squeegeeing down over the top of it. Now one of the things I want to go ahead and do is tear the paper off just behind where my registration marks are. That'll make it easier for me to see my corners. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our canvas and lay it back out and grab our vinyl and line our registration marks up with the top two corners. I'm going to squeegee the mask down a little bit. Then I'm going to take and flip the canvas over and we're going to hinge it so that way we can remove the paper backing. Which may take a minute. Yep. And I'm just going slowly, double checking to make sure all the paper backing removes. I have issues sometimes because I change my blade out a lot. So when I'm cutting like Oracal 651, you see how that paper backing is stuck to it? You can just remove that off. I like to use my pick to do that. So I just take my pick and run it up underneath the paper and just remove any excess paper that's stuck to it. Okay. And again, that stuff's not the important thing because that's the paper and all that is not the main focus of the design. So let's go ahead and reline up our registration mark. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to squeegee it down from the front side. Squeegee is also available on our website. And then I'm also going to take and squeegee down from the back side. That kind of helps make sure it's stuck. But even so, when you're working with canvas like this, you got to remove your paper back, your masking, your transfer tape slowly. So today's Cameron's birthday. So it's April the 2nd. So we are going to go live tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or right about that time. It kind of depends on when we get dinner and everything situated. We're going to eat after we go live. There we go. But after we go, we're going to go live so everybody can wish him a happy birthday since we can't do a birthday party right now. And it's his 13th birthday. And some of y'all have followed us a long time, so y'all know who Cameron is. He's kind of gotten to the point in age where he doesn't want to be on camera a whole lot right now, but he'll get back to it. Now, one of the things is I'll take and unstick this transfer tape from itself, and then I'm going to stick it on the wall because I can reuse that. always, always, always reuse your transfer tape if you can. Transfer tape is kind of expensive. So this is what we look like. Looks cute. We're a little high on it, but it's okay. If I were doing this for like a customer, I'd make sure it's perfect. But see, my registration marks, it should have made this design a little bit bigger, but it's okay. So I have a glass bowl over here, and then I just have some white acrylic paint, which we're gonna pour into, which I shook this up, and this is the Apple something by Plaid. I bought this at Walmart, and this is one that I use quite a bit, and I like to have a big tub of white. And putting it in a glass container, see, I can't read what it says, apple charm or something. And then I have just a regular sponge, because I like to use the sponge so that way I'm not brushing up against those letters. When you use the sponge like this, you're less likely to have issues with your paint. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to need 1 or 2 coats of white. Kind of just depends on what it looks like after 1 coat. But as you can see, I'm just taking my sponge and dabbing over. And as I said, I like to do the dab technique like this versus a brush, because then that way I'm less likely to get paint underneath the letters, which I don't want paint underneath the letters. I want to have nice clean lines. But this is a fun project to do with kids. You can do it for any room in your house, because you can take and do any decor colors that you like. Also makes great teacher gifts. So like if you have a teacher friend or one of your kids' teachers, and this is inexpensive because you can find these canvases on sale at Hobby Lobby a lot of times extremely inexpensive, and they also sell them at like dollar store sometimes. They'll have them at Joann, Michael's, all those places, Walmart, Target, and they're typically, you know, $2 to $5 each, and sometimes you can even find them cheaper than that. And then the paint lasts forever. And now don't worry about me getting this on my tabletop. This tabletop I have actually covered in plain white vinyl. So over time, it will get too much color on it, and then we'll take and rip it off and put another piece on. But it's also a way to protect the furniture, which, unless you have steady hands, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Now I'm just taking and using my sponge brush and kind of dabbing over the edges where it had paint drips. But I do like how this is looking. So again, just keep dabbing. Okay, so now one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry just a little bit, and then I'm going to remove the stencil off of it. Once it dries a little bit, we'll come back and we'll see if we need to take and add a second layer before we remove the stencil. So this is by no means perfect, but it does look good, and it's dry enough where I should be able to remove the vinyl without messing up my paint. So that's the goal here. Let's grab a paper towel, which right now, paper towels, toilet paper, they're like gold. So far, I'm really liking how this is looking. Now, it's not perfect by any means, but a lot of times when I'm doing stuff for tutorials, I don't get a chance to make it perfect because the time that it would take to film something like that is outrageous. Plus, I think that's part of the fun of it, is to have things that look a little messy or not exactly perfect. You know, what's the point of crafting if it doesn't look crafted? But as I said, I'm a weirdo when it comes to that kind of thing. Not all people look at it the same way that I do. But look how cute that looks. And anyways, when you're doing this, you want it to dry enough where you can peel it off, but it doesn't have to be. If you let it dry too much, you'll pull up paint with it. But you do want to make sure your underbase colors, like the part that I painted yesterday, has plenty enough time to dry, because if you don't let that dry, then when you go to peel up your vinyl, you'll peel up the paint with that. So it's kind of like, one you need it dry all the way, the other one you don't need it dry all the way. Which, if you see that I do have some bleeding on this, and that is because whenever I painted the base layer, I left it with some texture. So the vinyl didn't grab everywhere, so it has a little bit more bleeding than what some people would like, but I like it. But again, what I've said is what I like is not always what anybody else likes. But as I said, you can get this file on our Patreon page. It's for the $10 or more a month. There we go. Almost finished. And last but not least, and the only things I would really change about it is make my texture a little bit smoother so my letters would grab, and move my design down some. But yeah, other than that, I like how it looks. Give me a minute and we'll go over everything we did today. So hopefully you like this video. If you do, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when we post new videos, which is typically every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and lives on Tuesday. But through all this craziness, we're posting a whole lot more. Don't forget to check me out on all my social media: Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as my second channel, which is just Betsy Gocher, where we do all things makeup. And remember, tonight, this is April the 2nd, 2020, we're going to do a live birthday party. Not really a birthday party, but like everybody can come on and say happy birthday to Cameron since we can't be out for his birthday. So 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I guess that's it, so we'll see y'all later. Bye.